Welcome back to What the Fact, the channel where we dig into the bizarre, the unbelievable, and the stuff that makes you say, wait, that's a real law. Today we're looking at 20 of the strangest laws from around the world. Some of these were written hundreds of years ago, some are still in force today, and some are just plain ridiculous. By the end, you'll probably feel better about the dumb rules in your own country. Don't feed the pigeons. Venice, Italy. Venice has one of the most famous squares in the world, St. Mark's Square, and for centuries it was covered in pigeons. Tourists loved feeding them, but the city didn't love scraping pigeon crap off priceless 900-year-old marble. In 2008, Venice finally banned feeding pigeons altogether. If you're caught tossing breadcrumbs, you can be fined hundreds of euros. Romantic gondola rides? Yes. Bread for the birds? That'll cost you. Chewing gum ban Singapore. If you love chewing gum, don't move to Singapore. Since 1992, selling or importing gum has been almost completely banned. The government brought the hammer down because people were sticking gum in subway doors and breaking the system. Today, only medical chewing gum is allowed, and you need a prescription for it. Imagine seeing your doctor. Doc, I've got a condition called extra spearmint withdrawal. No flip-flops Capri, Italy. Capri is known for its luxury, its beauty, and apparently its hatred of noisy shoes. The Italian island has banned squeaky, loud footwear like flip-flops and clogs. Why? Because tourists were disturbing the peace while clacking around like tap dancers on holiday. It's not enforced everywhere, but technically, you can get fined if your shoes annoy the locals. Fashion police taken literally. This one sounds like satire, but it's 100% true. In Tibet, monks are legally required to get government approval before they can reincarnate. Yes, Beijing wants control over the afterlife. It's part of China's efforts to keep tight control on Tibetan Buddhism. So if a monk wants to come back as, say, a dog or another monk, he has to file the paperwork first. Bureaucracy really does follow you everywhere. The small Canadian town of Petrolia, Ontario, passed a law against yelling, shouting, hooting, whistling, or singing after 11 p.m. They wanted peace and quiet at night, which is fair enough. But imagine being arrested for humming on your way home from the pub. Sorry, officer, I didn't realize my Taylor Swift whistle solo was a criminal offense. The Acropolis in Athens is one of the most famous historical sites in the world. In 2009, Greece banned high heels at all ancient monuments. Why? Because stilettos and sharp heels were damaging the delicate stone. So if you're visiting ancient ruins, it's sneakers only. It's one of the only laws in history designed to save both history and your ankles. So in Denmark, parents don't get free rein to name their kids whatever they like. The government actually has this list of about 7,000 approved baby names. And if you want something different, well, you have to apply for permission. They've even rejected names like Pluto and Monkey. The idea is to protect kids from bullying, but honestly, it basically means Denmark's baby name game is stuck on repeat. Here's a weird one. The Salmon Act of 1986 in the UK makes it illegal to handle salmon in suspicious circumstances. Nobody's ever really defined what suspicious means though. Like, is it hiding salmon down your trousers? Or maybe juggling them outside a pub? Either way, the law still exists. And technically you could be arrested for looking a bit too dodgy with a fish. On the Norwegian island of Svalbard, there's a serious problem with permafrost. Dead bodies just don't decompose there, they sort of sit frozen underground. Back in the early 20th century, scientists discovered that viruses were still alive in bodies buried decades earlier. So now dying is technically illegal. If you're seriously ill, you'll be flown to the mainland to die somewhere, well, warmer. It's grim, but honestly, pretty practical. So, here's a weird one. Some Polish towns have actually banned Winnie the Pooh from children's playgrounds. Why, you ask? Well, apparently it's because the bear doesn't wear trousers. Officials even called him an inappropriate hermaphrodite bear of dubious sexuality. I mean, that seems a bit extreme, considering he's literally just a honey-obsessed cartoon. I'm pretty sure Disney didn't have this sort of controversy in mind when they created him. In Sri Lanka, turning your back on a statue of Buddha is considered deeply disrespectful. Taking selfies in front of one, that can actually get you arrested. Tourists have been fined, and believe it or not, even deported for it. So if you want a photo, you'd better face the statue and look serious. Yeah, no duck faces allowed. Karaoke is absolutely massive in the Philippines, but there's one song that's basically considered cursed: Frank Sinatra's My Way. Over the years, several fights and even murders have broken out after bad performances of it. Some bars have just banned it completely. Imagine going to karaoke and being told, "No Sinatra tonight. We value your life." That's definitely not your usual song request drama. Number 13, no frowning Milan, Italy. So, Milan technically has a law that requires citizens to smile in public, except at funerals or hospitals. It's rarely enforced, but in theory, you could get fined for not grinning. The idea actually dates back centuries and was meant to keep morale high. Just imagine living in Milan with resting bitch face. That could be financially ruinous. Number 14, don't flush after 10 p.m., Switzerland. In some Swiss apartment blocks, flushing the toilet after 10 p.m. is banned because it disturbs the neighbors. So if nature calls, you've got two choices: risk a fine or hold it until morning. That's a true test of bladder strength, isn't it? Number 15, weird dog laws, Oklahoma, USA. In Oklahoma, it's illegal for groups of 3 or more dogs to gather on private property without a permit. Nobody's really sure why this was written into law. Maybe they feared canine gangs or something. Either way, if your dogs are planning a poker night, you better get city approval. So back in 2011, Romania actually tried to introduce a law that would punish witches and fortune tellers if their predictions didn't come true. Yeah, you heard that right. Unsurprisingly, the witches didn't take kindly to this idea. They protested by hurling dead cats at government buildings and threatening to curse Parliament. Unsurprisingly, the law was dropped pretty quickly. Honestly, never mess with witches. In the United Arab Emirates, public displays of affection, especially kissing, can actually get you arrested. Tourists are often caught out by this one, thinking a quick peck is totally harmless. Nope. In some cases, couples have even been jailed. So when they say keep it in private, they absolutely mean it. North Carolina once passed a law that no bingo game can last more than 5 hours. Apparently, marathon bingo was considered a gambling problem. So if your grandma's on a hot streak after hour 6, the law says it's time to call it a night. At one point, Alabama banned selling ice cream on Sundays. It was tied to blue laws that restricted fun on the Sabbath. Shops couldn't sell cones, and families had to wait until Monday for their fix. Imagine explaining that to a crying kid. Japan has some very polite rules, and in certain regions, eating loudly on public transport is banned. Slurping noodles is fine, that's cultural, but crunching crisps or munching chips, considered rude enough to be illegal, proof that even snacks can get you in trouble. And that's 20 strange laws that actually exist. Some make sense, some are outdated, and some are just plain daft. Which one do you think is the weirdest, or maybe even the smartest? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more global weirdness every week on What the Fact. Thanks for watching.